Friends, let me tell you a story. On a lovely Thursday afternoon, two friends, Max and Sam, get together outside, of course, socially distanced with masks, here in Andover. And Sam has a flat TV screen on a cart to watch the Red Sox outdoors. Everything seemed to be just fine. COVID-19 was almost without reach, except for the masks, of course. However, the game did not go as expected. The Red Sox tried their best against the Baltimore Orioles, but eventually the Red Sox lost the match. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, thought Max. First, the Yankees, now the Marlins, and now the Orioles? With a devastating look, Max turned to to Sam, saying, "I changed my mind. I will be a Yankees fan from now on." It's a sacrilege. You might say, "Max, be careful there. You won't be able to get into Fenway Park in the future." How often do we, yes, don't, exactly. I totally agree. However, changing one's mind, that is not something unusual for us to do, right? How often do we change our minds about things? I would ask you, how often did you change your minds in the past week or so? Whether to make your coffee with a K-cup or drip, whether to cook at home or just get takeout, or even better, to maybe just risk to go and eat outside in a restaurant, or to better let it be. If not for safety reasons, we often change our minds for practical reasons, right? The K-cup is just so much easier. It gives me the quick caffeine fix. Takeout is just so much more convenient. I don't have to cook. Or during a pandemic, we hope only for the quick fix, the vaccine that will save our lives. Let's just use the vaccines that are in development. Why should we wait? The pandemic could be over in a week. Well, God's people change their minds for the quick fix. That is now, and that was then. God's people, the Israelites, wait on Mount Sinai for Moses' return from the mountain. In fact, they have been waiting down on the bottom of the mountain for 40 days without a word. About 8 chapters before the story that Finn just told us, Moses goes up to the mountain, into the clouds, and gone he is. Well, after leaving Egypt, crossing the Red Sea or Red Sea, which, that is not really clear in the translations, and months of journeying in the wilderness, they quarrel in disbelief. And believe me, I think I would quarrel too after months and months in the desert without a place and just the word, "Don't worry, we will be there soon." Make gods for us, they demand. Give us the quick fix, something we can worship and pray to in these unprecedented times. And Aaron, their leader right now, because Moses is not there, gives in. In a rather, I would say, populist move, Aaron uses what seems to be the people's claimed reparations from Egypt to melt them and form them into a calf. And then he says, "These are the gods that delivered you from the bondage in Egypt. Worship them. This is yours." And I asked myself, how come that the people of Israel changed their minds? The answer is easy. It is their disbelief, their impatience. They have been promised a prosperous land to settle in, and they trusted Moses, they trusted God, but now Moses is out of sight, and it seems to be far gone, this promised land. In this situation, a man-made golden calf becomes the easy, tangible, shiny alternative to Moses' promise and our seemingly invisible God that we worship. Don't get me wrong. You might think now, here we go, and there comes the next materialism speech that we know from the golden calf. But hold on. The story we hear today is not just about people's need for the tangible, comfortable alternative to the status quo. It is instead also about why they need this alternative. I think there are at least two reasons, don't quote me on it, but at least two, why the people were changing their minds. One reason is they, as I said, need the tangible, shiny calf, because there's nothing else to see. And interestingly, the people of God have seen God's power before. They have seen the plagues. They have seen the splitting of the sea. They have seen manna coming from heaven. They have seen the waters that ran down from a rock. And those were all God's miracles. And yet, now we can't see him anymore. They lose their hope yet again and find a way for the tangible alternative. Don't we feel all the same? The longing for the alternative option to the status quo right now? What is your golden calf? Friends, I invite you to think, what is your golden calf that tempts you to change your mind? Going for the best baseball team of the season? Or is it the K-Cup? Or the outdoor restaurant around the corner? Is it the vaccine that is your golden calf? Or the ballot that just came into your mail? The second reason for them to change their minds has to do with leadership. According to Vanessa Lovelace, the whole story of the golden calf can be summed up as the failure of Aaron's leadership. Indeed, if Aaron were able to guide the people with patience and assurance of Moses' return, a golden calf would probably not have been necessary. Patience is needed. And patience is what is in short supply when you're in the wilderness, right? Or in a pandemic, for that matter. The Apostle Paul, being imprisoned for his ministry, writes to his congregation in Philippi saying, do not worry about anything. He's imprisoned. He's imprisoned and says, do not worry about anything. But in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving and patience, let your request be made known to God. And this is what Moses does. With patience, he talks to God. while God being in anger about how people break their relationship with God, Moses struggles to reply with patience. He faithfully requests, "Oh God, change your mind." Moses struggles. Moses pleads in the conversation with God. In prayer and patience, he can eventually change God's mind for the betterment of God's people. He says, "Remember Abraham, Isaac, Israel, your servants." And this is the exact words that we find in the Jewish prayer that is prayed daily today. So yes, it is a prayer. Friends, I admire Moses' patience here, Moses' strength before God. Because Moses is in a challenging position to defend the Israelites. Moses' actions here make me think of the golden calf that made me change my mind, go the easy road instead of the rocky one, the easy road instead of the right one. Moses reminds me that what I need, for example, in this pandemic, in this election year, in this year with an infant that was just born in June, is prayer and patience. So I ask you, let us not give in to the quick fix of shiny vaccines. They will not come so soon and won't quickly change things the way they are now. Let us not change our minds toward the easy way by following the Yankees instead of the Red Sox, using the K-cup or getting takeout. Instead, my friends, I ask you all to help each other out by praying for each other, by listening to each other's impatience, and let us not follow Aaron, but Moses, by struggling with God in prayer. And let us be gentle to ourselves, because sometimes we are impatient. That's just the way we are. May it be so. Amen. Let's share some joys and concerns here. First, joy and concern is my own. Please, if you like, join me for a